Hello. So we're on day 3 of week 1. So I just wanted to send a message welcoming everyone to the class. Glad to have you guys enrolled over the next 16 weeks in the 1101 course. And I just wanted to go over a few things in case this is your first online class with Eastern Florida, just kind of going over what you can expect each week and how you navigate the course to be successful. So the homepage has some information here, a little bit about me, how to get in contact with me. So you can always go over to the inbox and email me that way. But this email, this is good to have written down somewhere in case you're locked out of Canvas. Then you can email this and it will come to my Outlook. Pictures of our textbooks for the course, and then also a link to the bookstore where you can purchase the textbook. And they do a price match in case there's any used versions available. This is our first term using this edition though, so more likely than not, they're going to have new versions of the book. Sorry about that. Down here at the bottom, just some online course requirements. So the attendance requirement is discussion 1. So the post should be completed by tonight, the 3rd day of class. And then the reply needs to be posted by Sunday. Or on a normal week, you would have until Friday to submit your post to the discussion and then Sunday to get your reply in. Now, I have a little bit of flexibility with that. Say you've had a really crazy week and you couldn't get the post until Saturday. I'm going to still give you credit, but just be aware that you may get points off if it's a repeated thing where you're always submitting your post after Friday, because I am looking for the post by Friday. So that way we can actually have a discussion. If you were to go Sunday night and post and reply, then really no one would really be able to reply to your post because it would be the night that it was due. So I like to have the post in early. Also, another requirement is just to remain an active participant in this course. So this means more than just logging in. You actually need to be submitting an assignment each week. If you go 2 weeks without submitting an assignment, then you're at risk of being withdrawn from the course. If you have something come up, if you have an emergency, please contact me. I want my students to be successful. I understand that things happen sometimes, but we're all adults, so just make sure that you get in contact with me if something's happening that is hindering you from getting your assignment turned in. And then also the proctored exam requirement. So our proctored exam will be the midterm. And you can register for that starting now. I have already put it into the system, so the Learning Labs have the dates that you are allowed to register. And that would be from Monday the 25th of September to Sunday the October 8th. Keep in mind though, if you do plan it to take your exam on Sunday, October 8th, it would need to be through the ProctorU, which is a paid service. And I'm only saying that because the Eastern Florida Learning Labs are not open on Sunday. So if you need to get into an Eastern Florida Learning Lab, then you would actually need to do that by Saturday, October 7th. All right, a few other things to go over on how to navigate and where to get started in the course. One of the first things you want to do is read the announcements that I have posted. So under announcements, I have, on the first day, I posted a getting started and frequently asked questions. And then yesterday, I posted a link about the free Microsoft Word that Eastern Florida offers. So go ahead and take a look at these 2 posts. And under this first getting started and frequently asked questions, I have information about the tutoring services, which are also available online. So that's really great for some of you who are taking this course online because of the flexibility. You can also submit papers for review online. Another thing to keep in mind is the calendar. So that's going to help you a lot in seeing what is due each week and kind of planning ahead of time. So if you open the calendar, you will see, for instance, this week we only have 1 assignment. I'm getting you guys started off kind of easy transitioning back into this fall term. So all you need to do this week is submit discussion 1. But if you would like to get a head start on next week assignments, we have paper 1 rough draft, which is an optional draft due next Friday, the 25th. And then discussion 2 will be due next week as well. So you can go into the modules tab and look at week 2 assignments after you have completed week 1. Also, just kind of planning ahead, you can always go and check out September. Say you have an event going on a certain day in September, you want to see what other assignments are planned that week. You can get a head start here and kind of look at the calendar. Now, sometimes I do change the calendar, but I never move assignments up. If anything, I would just delay an assignment for a day. Say we have, different things happen. Once, it's like a hurricane hit during the week that I had the midterm scheduled, so I extended the midterm a few days. So, things like that happen. So just keep in mind the calendar is somewhat tentative, but I will never move assignments up on you. Just, if anything, just delay them. All right, and the modules tab, I keep speaking of that. That is really your main go-to over here in the left navigation. You want to go to modules, and this is where each week is divided out. So the first module is the proctored exam, giving you some instructions on what the proctored exam, why we have it, because it's a federal regulation for online courses that you go in person and take one exam. So that is going to be our midterm. And then some information about ProctorU, which is the paid service. But ProctorU does allow you to take the exam from the comfort of your own home versus making an appointment with Eastern Florida and going to campus. If you, for some reason, live out of the county, but you do not want to use ProctorU, then there is also the option to go to a local college or university and take it in their learning lab. So if you are interested in that option, you can email me and I can send you more details about that. So our week 1, you want to just start with the first page, which is week 1 assignments, read first each week, and you will see that is what I do for each week. I have this little outline that gets you a clear idea of what is expected that week in terms of reading and assignments. So for this week, these are the objectives. It's to really get a good understanding of the course syllabus, to review the MLA formatting materials, to complete the discussion 1, but first read best practices for discussion forums, so that way you understand how you're going to be assessed and earn your grade for discussion, so that way you can get a good start with discussion 1, earning full credit. So each discussion is worth 5 points. 3 points are for your post and 2 points are for replies. So that's something sometimes I see students may post week 1, but they forget to reply. So remember to go back in there and reply and look over the best practices for some tips on how to complete good replies that initiate discussion, right? So that's the whole point of a discussion forum, is that we want to have conversations. So how do you post things that will help create more conversation and lengthen the thread of the discussion? So this week, discussion 1 post is due by this evening, Wednesday, because it is the mandatory 3-day activity for attendance purposes. And then your reply will be due by Sunday. Most weeks you will have until Friday to do your post. But this week, since we're in week 1 and it is the attendance activity, that you need to get the post in by this evening. And here are the readings from the textbook that are required this week. So all of the readings, I don't have questions to go along with the readings this week. So the readings will be used, though, on the midterm. So if you do not have the textbook this week, maybe you're getting your financial aid and all of that's coming through and you can't get the textbook until the end of the week or early next week, then that's okay. Just make sure you go back and read these pages from chapter 1 when you get the textbook, no need to worry if you're having to wait a little bit to get the textbook until next week. Just make sure you go back and complete these readings, because you will see this information on your midterm. So easy enough, you just can use the next button down here to navigate through, or you can always go back to modules and navigate through the week 1 that way. And then also week 2 is posted in case you want to get a head start on paper 1. We have an optional rough draft for paper 1 is due next Friday, the 25th. So paper 1 guidelines can be found here. And this is a fun paper. I have a couple of 4 different stories that are in the textbook that are narrative and or descriptive. So go ahead and give those a read as well to kind of get an idea of how other writers are accomplishing this task of writing a descriptive narrative. And let's go back to the modules. So for paper 1, I also have some sample student papers from previous semesters. You can give those a read over. And then here's the Dropbox. So under the Dropbox, you'll see there was a due date. I also put in information on if you submit a rough draft, what the criteria is to get extra credit. So this is nice. You get 5 points extra credit for completing drafts and peer reviews for papers 1, 2, and 3. Paper 4 rough draft and peer reviews are required for a grade, but for 1, 2, and 3, you can earn up to 5 points extra credit on your final draft grade if you submit, and these are the criteria to do that. They have to be in Microsoft Word, so please read that announcement regarding the free version of Microsoft 360. And as you can see as well, this is a Turnitin Dropbox. So once you submit, you'll see an originality report. For the first paper, you're not using any sources, so it shouldn't be a big deal. But when you do use outside sources, you can only use 25% or less of the paper as outside support. So keep that in mind for future papers. But for paper 1, this is just a fun way to get started in the writing course, is to go out and do a little bit of a field observation, try something new, and then describe your experience. All right, so if you have any questions, please email me. I am available. No worries if you feel like it's a silly question, or maybe you saw it somewhere and now you can't find what you're looking for. Just ask away. I know online classes can be a little tricky, especially week 1, and trying to figure out how to navigate through and juggle the workload of a few different classes and possibly work and kids and everything. So I'm here for you. Please lean on me for support and email me with any questions. Thanks.